So yesterday we touched very briefly on Lou Lou and his vision for music, which is his way out of the game, and how this could scupper Raquel's escape plan. But we've only touched base on Lou Lou's role this week, so we're going to dive deeper into his character, look at his relationships, especially with Kanan, his vision, and a game-changing moment for his character. So we're going to look at his part of the episode 8 synopsis, along with his story arc. So this is a spoiler warning for those who actually don't want to know anything to do with episode 8 and the synopsis. This is your chance to turn off now. But for those of you who do, then stick around till the end of this video and you'll understand why Lou Lou will want out of the game, even more so after episode 8. But for those of you who are new to the channel and you haven't done so already, then remember to smash the subscribe button if you want to see everything Power Book 3 and Power Universe related. Now, breaking down the synopsis is something I do on a Saturday, but considering this is dubbed to be the biggest episode of the season, along with episode 10, we're going to start one day early. We're going to look at this part of the synopsis, which is Lou Lou's part, and we're going to tie this in with his story arc from the last episode, so we're able to paint the whole picture of why it's going to be a game-changing moment for Lou Lou's character. So for his part of the synopsis, it reads, Lou Lou finds himself caught in a crossfire, and I'm going to break down the rest of the synopsis tomorrow as usual in my preview and predictions video. But Lou Lou is going to be caught in a crossfire, and he was warned by Unique in episode 7 that he was sorry for what was going to happen next, because Unique was going to take down Raquel and anyone who was standing beside her, and Unique is definitely winning this war at this moment. He's the one with the upper hand, and he sensed that he had the upper hand. Hence why we saw him approach Lou Lou to try and turn him. He made him an offer to try and join his organization, giving him the opportunity to continue his music as a side hustle, but we knew Lou would never accept. But Unique started to plant the seed in episode 6, where he told Lou that he was a lot more reasonable than Rack, and last week he approached Lou, telling him that his organization could do with someone like him because his skill sets would be useful in Unique's organization. But Lou Lou would have been crazy to trust Unique if Unique was capable of doing this to his own best friend, who he grew up with, Trez G. Just imagine what he would do to Lou Lou if he ever wanted out of the game, because we as the audience know that Lou Lou's endgame is to come out of the game and go into music. And on top of all of this, we've seen what Unique's crew did to Scrappy, ripping out one of his eye sockets and leaving him with one kidney. But of course you can never say never in the world of power, because we've seen people turn before, but I don't think we'll ever see Lou turning over to Unique's side. But coming back to this conversation, Unique was very smart with how he approached this. He may have just wanted to find out the position of the Thomas organization and whether or not they were going to back down, which Raquel would never do. She's not someone who'd ever bow down to anyone, especially not Unique. We heard Raquel in episode 1 and how she said that she doesn't kneel to nobody because once you're on your knees, it's damn near impossible to get back up on your feet. But Unique heard Lou Lou's message loud and clear about what he thought of his proposal, and this is why we're going to see Unique go on the offense in episode 8. He's going to hit Raquel and the Thomas organization at a time where they're weak. Yesterday I spoke about how Raquel had issues across the board. She still doesn't have a connect. She has Howard who's pushing up on Kanan, issues with the two brothers, and issues with Kanan himself. Kanan caused a lot of bodies to drop with his bad crack, Nicole being one of them. Marvin's hustling on the highway behind Raquel's back because she's keeping him out of the game. And Lou Lou's mind isn't even in the game, and this is going to cost him. This is where we're going to see Lou Lou being caught in the crossfire when Unique hits Raquel's house or wherever they hit the Thomas organization, and Lou seems like he's going to be the one at the end of a hot one from Unique or someone from Unique's crew. And this is going to be the game-changing moment for Lou, because the other day I did mention it's going to take another D-Wiz type of moment to really send him on his way out of the game, and this could well be the game-changing moment where he thinks enough is enough, I want out of the game. Just like in Power Book 2 Ghost, how we saw Drew being shot towards the end of the first season, and how that's going to change him. I think he's going to be someone that's going to turn into a demon in the second season, and someone who's going to be a lot more savage. But with Lou Lou, I do feel it's going to have the opposite effect. He'll completely want out of the game because he's made it clear before, he doesn't want to end up dead or in jail. He wants to build his music business and live a normal life, and I do think we'll see Lou Lou trying to live this normal life in season 2. In season 3 of Power, we saw Ghost becoming a legit businessman for a short period of time until the game pulled him back in, and this is something I'm sure is going to happen to Lou Lou. We've already seen a glimpse of Ziza's character description for season 2, where it says that Lou Lou's going to be involved in Crown's record label a lot more in season 2, and no doubt what happens in the next episode is going to be a huge turning point for his character. But we're going to see Lou Lou struggle with who he is and the person that he wants to become, because they are two completely different people. And Malcolm Mays, who plays Lou Lou, actually gave an interview where he said that we know Lou Lou deeply cares about Rack and Jukebox and his family. He has a code for what he does. When you see him, you're going to have empathy for him. 50 Cent is really great about emphasizing that nobody liked his character Kanan until they realized he cared for Tariq, and that's very insightful. So I do think we're going to see Lou Lou struggle and have this constant battle with himself of who he is and who he wants to become, because he does care about his family. He cares about Juke, he's Raquel's right hand man for a reason, and although he fights with Marvin, I'm sure he cares about him too. So as Lulu starts to struggle with who he is and who he wants to become, I do think eventually he will be pulled back into the game, because that's just what happens. Once you're in the game, it's damn near impossible to leave, especially because you have loved ones and family involved, just like how he mentioned in this interview. But one thing we haven't seen yet from Lulu's side is him mentoring Kanan. Apart from one very small scene in the first episode, we've not seen anything of them together. We've not seen them having a single conversation, and we've not really seen the relationship that the two have. Over the course of the first season so far, we've seen Kanan really build a relationship and bond with Marvin, but nothing with Lou. And 7-Eleven expanded on the point I made in my last video about the relationship between Kanan and Lulu, which he summed up perfectly. Right now Kanan is naive and clumsy. He's someone who makes mistakes and doesn't process things correctly or quickly enough, and this is a representation of Marvin, who we've seen him bond with throughout this season, with Lou being the opposite, efficient, doing the job right, no games, and straight up savage. And once Kanan's character transitions into this mold similar to Lulu's, we're gonna see him taking him under his wing and mentoring him a lot more. And this is a perfect way of summing up why we've not seen Kanan and Lulu's relationship grow in this season. I'm sure it's something that we'll see, because over the course of Raising Kanan, we'll see Kanan taking facets from his whole family. We'll see him taking parts of Raquel, Marvin, and Lulu. This season he seems to be in the mold of Marvin, but he will transition season by season, and when we see him transition maybe next season, this is when we could see him adopt Lulu's ability to get shit done, and get shit done right. And there's of course the death of D-Wiz, which they could revisit at some point. It's a conversation we could see between Kanan and Lulu, and let's not forget, Jukebox knows what happened. She referred to some secrets that Kanan doesn't want to know about their family, and this is definitely one of them. What the other secrets are, who knows? She could even know about Detective Howard being his father, and probably even more secrets that we as the audience don't even know yet. But with Kanan and Lou, I do wonder whether we'll see them ever talking about what happened with D-Wiz, and when we do eventually see them together and building this bond and relationship, this is something I do think we'll see in season 2 onwards between the two characters, and I do feel we'll see this relationship build between the two. I mean, Kanan obviously got his dress sense from Lulu, and I'm sure he would have learned how to get shit done, just like his uncle as well. In Power, Kanan was straight up brutal. He was someone who got shit done, and got shit done right. He never missed. The only thing he did miss was him laying his guard down with Tariq, which was his eventual downfall. And again, just like other scenes that we've touched on in Power, there of course will be many Easter eggs and moments that they will drop when we do see Lulu taking Kanan under his wing, which will make us look at a few scenes back in Power and make us realize, okay, this is why Kanan did this is why Kanan moved the way he moved in certain scenes. So I'm definitely looking forward to breaking those scenes down and seeing what Kanan picks up from Lou, but that's just a small rundown on a potential game-changing moment for Lou's character based on his part of the synopsis. So let me know what you guys think down below in the comment section. Do you think what happens to Lou in episode 8 is going to push him to wanting out of the game even more than he already does? And what impact do you think it's going to have on the Thomas organization? I think this is something that will spring Marvin into action and him showing us what he can really do, because Raquel's just been keeping him out of the game. But this is something I'm going to dive deeper on in tomorrow's video, in my preview and predictions video, where I dissect the full synopsis just before episode 8. So drop all your thoughts down below in the comment section, and of course if you're new to the channel and you haven't done so already, then remember to smash the subscribe button if you want to see everything Power Book 3 and Power Universe related. But as always, thank you guys for watching, and I'll see you next time.